What's going on, people? Nicky P here. It's been a minute since I made a video. A lot of shit's been going on. I just kind of had to all evaluate it and see, give you all the short and skinny of it, to let you know what's going on in my life currently. This is another episode of the saga of divorce slash custody battle, and which continues to ensue of all the bullshit that I continue to have to go through. So, the last video I made, I believe, was when I told you all about her putting in an EPO on me, third EPO, and I didn't get to see my son for a couple weeks until the court hearing for the EPO, which ended up being dismissed, like I said in the other video. But then now, like I said, everything was going as normal. Pickup drop-offs were a pain in the ass because I had to call the cops numerous times to get her to actually give over my son. She was trying to say that the diapers I bought for him were too small, which they weren't. I knew they fit. I've been buying them, and I always make sure that they the right size for my children and everything else. So she was also trying to move to Ohio, which, as the court-ordered agreement states, that that's not allowed. She can't move out of state. She would have to file a order for reasonable reason to move out of state with my son, let alone there's no good reason. She's just trying to, I don't know what she's trying to do, but clearly she's trying to run the show, which is not going to happen. So currently, in the situation of life of Nicky P as we know it, besides the constant bullshit of having to call the police when pick up, and then drop off was an issue because she always tries to cause an issue. So the most recent one that I don't think you all know about was that she was also trying to state that I was neglecting my son's medical needs. Now, granted, that's a lie. I don't know if I talked about this in the last video, but she tried to say that he wasn't using the restroom normally, in which ensues the Miralax to go to the restroom. Well, at our house, he goes to the restroom fine. He eats fine. He does everything he's supposed to do. He doesn't have to. But I bought Miralax just in case, to cover my bases. So she went to the extent of telling the kid care doctors and nurses and everything that I was not going to give him his medicine, and that I guess he had an ear infection that I've heard about last second. So then he ended up getting amoxicillin prescribed to him for the ear infection. Granted, besides that, the day of pickup, which was not this past Tuesday, but the 2 weeks ago, Tuesday, was supposed to be my pickup. So I went to Lowe's as agreed. I went there. I got there 10 minutes early, like I always do, and I was waiting to pick up my son. So all of a sudden, 5 o'clock rolls around, and, she's not showing up. She's not there. She's not coming. So per the court-ordered agreement, I waited the 30 minutes prior to time of pickup, because as the agreement states on her end is that any parent who does not show up within the 30-minute time period from pickup either is breaking, the agreed custody agreement, or they forfeit that week for pickup. What basically pointing towards whoever doesn't show up. Now, like I said, I was there at 5 o'clock. She was a no-show. Sat there in the parking lot and then waited till 5:30. 5:30 rolls around. She did not text me, did not say anything at all. So I kind of figured that she was going to pull her shit with the, schedule of the week like she always does. So I went, I text her on that app called App Close that we have court ordered agreement to communicate through when it has to involve with pickup, drop off, or medication and stuff for the kid. So when I text her, she continues to message me back and argue with me and say, well, this week's your Wednesday and you had them Tuesday of last week. Now, granted, every time we go to pick up, drop off, or whatever, she always starts shit. So she messaged me saying something the previous week of that, which had to be 3 weeks ago, which was Wednesday. And I told her, I said, you might want to look back on your messages to show. So then after looking back at her messages and realizing that she was wrong, like every other time from before, she continued to apologize and said that she will be there to drop him off. So that was at 5:30. And after I was sitting there for 5:30 waiting, it took her an additional hour to show up to bring my son to me. Granted, she tried to use the excuse that she was picking up his medication. Now, if he had medication to pick up, I could have easily picked it up. I could have drove and picked it up, but she was basically trying to extend the time out and cause a problem. So then after she showed up, which I knew she was going to cause a problem, I continued to record when I was waiting to pick up my son outside the car for pickup. Now, when I recorded, because I have such this, I guess you could say, like intuition of random bullshit that I have to deal with on a regular basis, she continued to get out of the car and come over to me and tried to hand me a bag. And I said, well, what is it? She said, it says amoxicillin. I said, well, you never said anything about him needing amoxicillin. Why does he need amoxicillin for? She said, he has an ear infection. I said, well, if that was the case, that's something that you should have shared prior to this. And you are also additional hour later than when I text you. And then she went on the thing about talking about the Miralax, like I've just discussed. Well, I called the nurse prior to that, and I talked to her, and she supposedly told them that I was not going to give his medication, blah, 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 refusing to give it to him. And like I explained to her, I've been giving him his amoxicillin, and Miralax is as needed because, you know, like I said, it's if you're constipated and you're having a hard time using the restroom, you give them Miralax in their drink and it'll help, you know, regulate, you know, their flow. So I called her and told her, I said, it's as needed, right? And she said, well, she said something about he's not going to the bathroom and eating. I said, I don't know what he does at her house, but at my house, and I can have my dad contest to this because my dad's here and watches him, he goes to the bathroom and eats fine. He never has a problem. He never has an issue. So basically, she was trying to make it seem like I was the bad guy, that I was neglecting him, not doing what I was supposed to. But that wasn't the case. I used to work at a pharmacy. I worked at Kroger Pharmacy. And I was a pharmacy tech. And something like that, whether it be that or something to do with, you know, anything that can cause diarrhea, if possible, can also dehydrate you. Now, with it being dehydrating you, you have to stay hydrated. Now, Bryden doesn't drink all the time when he drinks fluids, and I always have to remind him to drink fluids, but he's probably one of the hardest people to get to drink fluids because he likes milk, and that's what he likes to drink. So milk's not going to really hydrate you like water will, or anything else in general. So the Miralax is as needed as he doesn't go to the bathroom. So he doesn't get dehydrated, so that way he doesn't end up in the hospital, have to be on IV to get rehydrated. And after I talked to the nurse about that, the nurse said, yeah, you're right. You know, it's as needed. And I said, yes, because I know he goes to the bathroom fine here. So then after that was said with the nurse, the day of pickup, like I was saying, she continued to argue with me about it. And I said, I called the nurse. And my dad, who is my witness, has been my witness from day one, can contest this. I talked to the nurse. I had a talk with her, and she knew, and Dad knew about it, and I even recorded that. And she continued to lie and say, oh, well, you didn't talk to her. Call her again. I was like, no, I called her. I already talked to her, and she told me I talked to her about it, and you tried to say that I wasn't giving it to him, but it's not needed unless he needs it, because it can cause problems with him and make it harder. You know, it could probably make him real sick, if possibility, and then he won't be able to keep food down. So that being said, she continued to argue with me. Went on the thing to try to act like, I was wrong. I didn't know what I was talking about, blah, 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 causing an issue. And then I ended up getting Bryden, and I put him in the car. And then as I got in the car, she continued to try to fight with me, which, like I said, I have it on recording. So it went on for a little while, and she just kept on going. And I recorded it, and then I left. And then after that was said and done, I got my son. It was whatever. So we had him that week from Tuesday to Saturday. And granted, I got to explain this situation to you guys because it explains what has went on now. The endless trials and tribulations of, joint custody and, all that stuff. So anyway, my son comes over and he has a one-piece suit that is a Black Panther suit. He wears it. He loves Black Panther. He thinks he's Black Panther. That's what he does. He wears it all the time. I bought him a mask and claws, so he thinks he's Black Panther. So, granted, if it's hot or cold, whether it's not one or the other, he still wants to wear that Black Panther thing all the time. So I have to continuously put it on him. Granted, it's fuzzy. So he was wearing that, and he was jumping around and whatever else and getting all sweaty, so he ended up changing his clothes because I guess it got dirty or something. So we ended up taking it off. Well, granted, this was the day that I was home. It was either Wednesday or Thursday of the week that I had from the Tuesday that I picked him up. But anyway, we ended up changing his clothes and everything. And then those of you may know, my dad has 3 different types of cancer, and he's also diabetic. So with doing the 3 different types of cancers, when he did his treatments, it caused his skin to be, I would say, kind of like ashy, kind of like scaly, kind of like dried out his skin and everything. Plus being a diabetic, that also contests to that. So he has lotion in his room, and he puts lotion on his arms and his feet and stuff because that's what it is. So Bryden ended up going up here and seeing my dad was putting lotion on him. So Bryden said he wanted lotion on him because he was itchy because of the suit. So Dad put lotion on his back because that's where Bryden wanted it on him. So once again, I was here that day. I knew about it. I seen it. I witnessed it, and Bryden even told me about it. So there you go. So those of you who are very intelligent and very smart that are my viewers kind of understand where I'm going with this, but then again, I will continue to tell the story in which lies ahead. So after that was said and done, we dropped him off on Saturday to her, and she continued to try to talk to me when I went to drop him off, which like I said, I have nothing to talk to her about because she's trying to cause issues with me, saying I'm neglecting him, all this other stuff, which I'm not. So fast forward a couple days, I'm at work, and next thing I know, I get a phone call. And it rings and it shows, I'm not going to say names, but it shows Children's Services. So I answered the phone. I said, yeah, how can I help you? And I was told that there was an abuse claim put on Bryden. So I was like, really? So what I said, again, because as much as you may know, as everyone that watches my videos knows, I've had an abuse claim put on my older son on me from my ex-wife, and abuse claim twice for my younger son from the same person. Now, so I was confused in what she was trying to do now, because they were all determined there was no abuse, there was no whatever. It was just hearsay because there was no evidence, because there wasn't any. Nothing happened. It was just her trying to cause a problem in my life to be able to see my kids, which I'm still working on seeing my older son, and this is causing an issue for that. But anyway, and the person continued to tell me, well, it's not on you, it's on your father. And right there, I just kind of got dumbfounded. I was like, what? It's on my dad. She said, yes. I said, well, with it being my son, can you talk to me about it? Or she said, no, we went to the house. We were trying to talk to your dad because we got to talk to him and interview him. And if he okays it, then we can talk to you about it. So I said, okay, that's fine. So she went on there and I told my dad about it. I said, they're going to come to the house to see you and talk to you and everything. And he said, okay. So after they talked to him, I came home. He ended up giving me like a brief description of it, but then I had to work the next day, or yeah, I had to work the next day, which was supposed to be the pickup day for my son. Well, normally with these abuse claims or anything like that, they usually try to say that they can't be around the person that the abuse claim is on. So, because when I got the child abuse and neglect claim on me, I wasn't allowed to be around my son until they investigated me completely and thoroughly, and I had to go to court. So, I kind of expected that. It wasn't something that was going to surprise me. It's just at this point in this whole process, nothing surprises me anymore because like I said, I've already had 3 EPOs, 3 abuse claims. Cops been called multiple times to my house. I've had to call the cops on her for pickup drop off because it's always an issue. Nothing surprises me anymore. Literally nothing. Unless I hit the lottery. That would surprise the fuck out of me. But other than that, nothing surprises me. So after that happened and I ended up going to work the next day because I went in early to work, when I got off work, I got the phone call from the same worker, and they said, can you come down here and we can talk to you about, the situation? I said, sure. So I ended up going down there and I had a talk with them. Well, when I went down there and talked with them, I was told the reason that the abuse claim on my dad was and what it was about. So what I was told, like I said, it was a claim, abuse claim. Well, when I got there, I ended up getting told, which, like I said, my dad kind of filled me in, but then they told me more about it. So supposedly there was now brace yourself because this shocked the fuck out of me out of all things. But then again, some of you who are very good at telling what's coming, like with movies and stuff, this kind of gives you an update and you kind of already know where this is going. So it wasn't an abuse claim. It was a sexual assault claim. Yes. So at this point, you're kind of like, what the fuck, a sexual assault claim. I was the same way. I didn't understand what the fuck the assault claim was, and they continued to tell me. So supposedly, on the day that I dropped him off to his mother, that night, he ended up telling his mother that Grandpa put lotion on him. Now, those of you may know, and those of you that I've already been through and talked to about this, when that was said automatically, you know where that was going. And she's currently staying in the Ion Center in downtown Maysville. So, this person, who they are, and how their mind is set up and how they always want to try to ruin everyone else's lives and do everything possible to harm other people, made the claim that the lotion that was put on my son was put on his no-no area by Grandpa. And then also continued to say that Bryden would go and sleep in Grandpa's room with Grandpa, and he would shut the door and continue to put lotion, and he put lotion on so-and-so area. Now, I don't know about most of you, but by that point when I heard that, I was disgusted because 1, I was here that day. 2, my dad is not that kind of person. 3, my son would never say that because it didn't happen. I was here that day. And the fact that my son's mother can claim those kind of things and then report it and have it investigated when it never fucking happened makes me sick to my very core. Clearly, anybody who has that on their brain or any other thing like that clearly has a really fucked up mentality that they don't know how to function in life. Granted, I don't know if you are safe to be around my son. And I feel sorry for my son and my stepdaughter because they have to be around this person who is making these false allegations of serious claims that are not true, because I know this firsthand because I had a rape claim put on me from said person. Tried to say that I sexually assaulted her. Now, those of you who know my dad, family, friends, anyone in general who watches my videos and knows me, that would have never happened. My dad is not that kind of person. Granted, if someone was doing that to someone's grandchild, I would be the person of my understanding that it would have happened to, if they're that kind of person where they are that kind of, I'm going to say, monster of a person that they would do that to someone. I would say that their kids would have had it happen to them first. Granted, nothing like that ever happened to me, nor would it happen to my son because my dad is not that person. So the fact that someone could make these false allegations and claims of serious offenses of something that as sickening as touching a child in in a sexual manner is disgusting. So now, since that was said, when I was called down there to talk to the children's services, they ended up telling me that my son is not allowed around his grandfather by himself at all until investigations, because they had to take it up at a higher up because it was, the sexual assault and all this other stuff claimed that didn't happen. So they had to investigate and bring up all the other charges and everything. All this investigation, talk to the kid, talk to this, talk to that. They talked to me, talked to my dad. None of it fucking happened. So with that being said, where he's not allowed around my dad by himself unless chaperoned, so he has to have someone with him all the time in order to have my son here. As some of you may know, my dad watches my son on my days that I work, which is only I'm here Wednesday, Thursday. I'll pick him up, Tuesday or Wednesday, and I'll have him Wednesday, Thursday, and then normally my dad would watch him Friday while I work until night, and then Saturday until I get off to take him back to his mother. So with that being said, my dad not allowed around him for the current thing by himself, or allowed to give him a bath because of the false claims. I don't have anybody else to watch my son. Granted, I do have people in my family, but I would never put them in that position to have to get child abuse or any kind of claim put on them for false allegations and give her more ammunition to use, because that's how she is. She's trying to keep my son away from me. So I ended up telling her I don't have anybody else. The only person I have that I would want to watch would be my aunt, my dad's sister. And she's got her own medical stuff going on. Plus, like I said, I don't want to put someone through that life thing. Plus, with me working, she'd have to be here the whole day. I'd have to pick her up when I get off work, take her home, then have to pick her up the very next day in the afternoon and bring her back down, and so on and so forth. That's too much hassle. And my dad, I trust my dad with my son because I've always trusted my dad with my kids. My dad never would hurt them kids. He never hurt me as a child, never hurt my brother, never did anything. My dad he's a good guy. I learned to become who I am through my parents, and that's why I'm so mellow. I am a little bit more mellow than them. I do have a different aspect on life, but then they showed me who to become and raised me right and stuff and put me on the right path of who to become the man I am today. So my dad would never harm anybody, or let alone a kid, because that is just disgusting. And especially his own grandkid, that puts you in a whole new perspective of stuff that I don't even want to go into. And now, that being said, I can't have my son over because I don't have anybody to watch him, and my dad is the only person that I would want to watch him. And my dad can't be alone with him, and because of the false allegations. So now I have to I just missed out this past week, and possibly miss out this week too, because I don't have a way to spend time with my son. And they said that I can schedule days, but the way my schedule is right now with rotating, I don't have a way to do that because of, work. I had to do this, do that. I had a couple court dates that I ended up setting on That's another thing, which I'm going to go in detail. But like I said, with me having to set court dates because of having to go to court, I had to switch my days, and my dad would normally watch my kid for me on the days I have him, but then he can't be alone with them, and I'm not going to put that burden on anybody else, because that's not their problem. It's my problem. It's bad enough I got my dad involved, but I shouldn't have to involve any more of my family members, let alone anybody else. So, with that being said, like I said, I had to go to court. The court thing was my own doing. As some of you may know, she's been trying to move out of state. Trying to. She even tried to serve me a paper stating that she was going to move out of state and stay over in Aberdeen or Ripley or something at some kind of apartments. I refused to take the paper because, one, it's not certified. It's not serving me. You're just trying to give me a paper, and I don't have to take anything from you unless it's served to me through a sheriff or police department. And so I ended up going after the day that I went to Lowe's, and it was an hour later when I texted her. I ended up going and filing for contempt because, like I said, this has been going on for numerous times. It's been going on since the finalization of the divorce and the dissolution agreement and the custody agreement was finalized at the end of January. And since then, she has came to my work, tried to message me that's not on that authorized app, harassed me numerous times, saying that I'm neglecting my son. I post videos on YouTube, like you guys know. She ended up commenting on them before. I had to end up reporting her, then blocking her. Then she made a new profile and did it again. And then to that extent that she's also posting stuff on Facebook about me to whoever the fuck's listening to her about her random Alice in Wonderland, fucking Willy Wonka and Chocolate Factory fantasy shit that she makes up, that I'm such this bad person, that I am this person, that person, and doing all this, and I'm a monster, and no, I'm going to pay for what I did. I didn't do shit. So the fact that you are trying to convince people to get on your side when I already have so many people who already know me in this area, who know who I am, know that I'm a good guy, I don't do that shit, makes you look stupid. So with that being said, like I said, I filed contempt. The last straw was not showing up. Like I said, there's been numerous times that she's always late, whether it be pickup or drop off, it's always late. But it's not past that 30-minute mark. And then this time, it just happened to go past that 30-minute mark. And our destination, which we do the pickup drop off, which is Lowe's, is an issue because it's always a fight. I have to call the police. And in order to get my son, I shouldn't have to go through this much bullshit. So with that being said, I have evidence, like I said, I have a folder full of shit that she's been doing numerous times, text messages, harassing me, trying to start fights to the point of coming to my work and stalking me, trying to find where I'm at when she has no reason to be there. Even to the extent now that she basically does not let me see my stepdaughter because she basically brainwashed her to believe that I'm this horrible, bad person. But yet my son still wants to be here because my son knows who I really am, my younger son. And tries to get me to go to stuff like doctor's appointments with her when I don't be around her. Or says that we can meet somewhere so I can see my son. I shouldn't have to do that because with this custody agreement, I should already have my son. But because you're doing false allegations on my dad, because you've done it on me before, it's causing him another hill to climb in this journey that I call life. Because you're a terrible person and you're mentally ill and you really need some fucking help. So now, after I went to court and she was trying to leave state, that was one thing. Arguing, and then she's not going by the agreement. She's always late, showing up late. I wrote this big old paper out, turned it in, and they ended up telling me just come to court. Now, when you file contempt of court, I've never thought the process would be that easy. So basically all I did was go in, tell them I needed to file contempt, wrote out a paper stating why, and they put me on the very next day, court day, to be heard in the court. So when I did that, that was on the 28th. I showed up, we went there, Did all that, went up to the judge. She was trying to tell the judge when we went there that she didn't know why she was there. She thought it was because she was trying to move out of state. Now, the funny part about this is that, like I said from the get go, in which I knew and she knew, you're not allowed to leave the state. When you have a joint custody agreement and a divorce, you are not allowed to leave that said state unless you have probable cause or a good reason to leave said state. He is to remain a Commonwealth of Kentucky resident, so he has to remain in the state until he turns 18, and then she can move because that's how it works. Unless I'm deemed unfit as a parent, which I'm not. There's nothing that I've done or done anything against my son because I don't even whip my child. And the judge looked at her when she said that, and he's like, "You're not allowed to leave state." She said, "Well, my lawyer said I could." I was confused on it, and the judge looked at her and said, "No, ma'am, you're not allowed to leave the state. With the joint custody agreement, you're not allowed to leave state. That's actually breaking the agreement, and that is an issue." And which I've already discussed this and said this multiple times, but for some reason, this person always thinks they know more than I do. So, with that being said, the judge is like, "Well, we'll go ahead and set the court date for you guys to talk about your, concerns and blah blah blah." And that's what we did. And then we ended up they ended up dismissing the court, and we ended up leaving. So I now have a court date set for the 2nd, which is tomorrow, which is why I wanted to make this video to give all of my followers and everybody else an update on what's going on in the life of Nicky P as we know it. And clearly Bill Rocky Ferris, because he's involved in everyday aspect of my life as well as my son's life because he's my dad. So yeah, I just wanted to kind of give you guys an update. And like I said, I'll probably end up making another video after the court tomorrow to see what the outcome is. But as of right now, I still do not have my son because of the false claims. Really aggravates me, like I said, and the fact that my son wants to see me to the point that this person messaged me and said that he wants to see me, he misses me. Well, my son misses me because you took him away from me. You've done it multiple times, and you are the person who continues to do this bullshit to where my son can't even be okay at his own house when he loves being here. He wants to be around his grandfather and his dad. He loves spending time with us. He told me himself that he personally would rather be here than be there. And I don't blame him because, he's happy here. Has his own room, has his own stuff. There, he doesn't have his own room. He's sleeping on the floor on a mattress at a shelter basically for domestic violence, which there ain't none unless she's trying to claim it on the other dumbass of a boyfriend that she had. But my son deserves to be happy. So does my stepdaughter. And so does my older son. And I still haven't seen my older son. This month, in like 4 days, would make a full year that I haven't seen my older son because of someone's false allegations of abuse when I was trying to. The whole thing that started it was that my younger 2 kids dumped toys on the floor, and she tried to make him pick it up, and I told him it's not his place to pick it up, it's their place. She made him do it, and he was crying, and I was there trying to go in there to comfort him because Marcus was just doing as he was told because he didn't want to make anyone upset. He didn't want to make his stepmother mad because she had this self-hatred towards him. I don't know why, but he was treated differently than the other 2 because she didn't see him as her kid, which was a problem with me because I've gotten to multiple arguments with her about him. So because of her trying to tell him what to do to clean up the mess of the 2 other children, and he was just doing what he was told, and she wouldn't get out of my way, and she started a fight over that shit. I haven't seen my son in over almost a year now. I missed out on a birthday. I didn't get to spend his birthday when he turned 11. And granted, I probably won't get to spend his birthday this year with him when he turns 12. But I'm trying. I'm working my way. I'm trying to do everything I can. I can't get represented by legal aid because legal aid won't represent me because they represented my ex-wife because they told me that it's conflict of interest. And I'm not a millionaire, so I don't have money to be able to just randomly shuffle out $2,000 to go to court to be able to get my older son. And because I'm not on his birth certificate, because for some reason, since me and his mother weren't married, even though we told them to put me on the birth certificate, because we weren't married, they didn't put me on the birth certificate. So technically, I have no rights to him by the state of Kentucky because we were not married. Even though I am his father, the only way to establish anything would be to establish paternity. Now, she won't. I want to establish paternity, but like I said, in order to do that, I have to go to court and get a lawyer. To do that, she would either have to sign a paper stating that I am paternal father, or I would have to do a test to do the swab to prove that he's my son. Granted, within this whole time of the year that she has kept him from me due to false allegations from someone who she doesn't even know, she has not once claimed for child support. She has not tried to claim child support, because if she did claim child support, that would give me rights to him. That would have to establish paternity first, and that would do the cheek swab, and then that would give me rights to him, and then I would get 50-50 custody in the state of Kentucky like I do with my younger son. Not to mention the fact that I don't see how someone could believe another person that they don't even fucking know. Um, I was with my older son's mom for 10 years altogether. Knew each other when I moved down here, dated off and on, ended up getting together. We're planning on getting married and all this other stuff. And knows, even though our relationship went the way it did and whatever, I don't see how you would trust or believe someone like my younger son's mom, who's manipulative and makes up lies. Especially the fact that you don't understand that you're making your son suffer because of false allegations from somebody else. All because of a hatred towards me, which makes no sense at all. You want to hate me, I don't care. But the point of the concept is that your son, who also is my son, who's autistic and he is almost a teenager, does not deserve to not have both his parents in his life, especially since I have never done nothing to him. And you believe that person, the other person, because of what they said, and it wasn't true. Not to mention that you're not just making him suffer from not seeing his father, you're also making him suffer from seeing his other brother. And I know that he has a brother through, said mother, but he has two brothers. Why would you want to keep a brother away from another brother? That's family. That's not right. Continuously, numerous times that my younger son asks about his brother. Bryden literally says every time he talks about Day all the time. And there's never a day that goes by that I haven't heard about him. He basically keeps waiting for him to come back. And he wants to play with him. He wants to spend time with him. So do I. I miss my son. I've raised my son from day one. I'm not going to stop just because of false allegations. But I'm going to do what I got to do one way or another. If I have to sell my soul to the devil, I don't care. I'm going to get my son back. Because he deserves to have me as much as I deserve to have him. And I'm not going to allow him not to grow up without a father, because I actually give a shit about my kids. And even kids that aren't even biologically mine, I raised from 1 month old. Now are getting kept from me because of someone's brainwashed them to believe whatever they want to believe, but doesn't want them to actually have a father figure who's a good person in their life, because you keep calling these false allegations. So, yeah. So basically that's a sum it up. Like I said, tomorrow's court day. We'll see how that goes. Hopefully it goes in my favor. More than likely it will, because I have a lot of evidence to prove my said story. But I wanted to give you guys an update because I know it's been a while. And I apologize for the wait, but I had a lot of shit going on within that time. And I like to collect my thoughts prior to making videos, because I want to discuss things in a manner in which to evaluate them before I talk about them. But then again, my life is never ending with surprises. So this is just another speed bump in the road that I have to go over. Yeah. So this is Nicky P. I appreciate everybody who watches my videos. I appreciate everybody who takes the time out to watch them. I appreciate everybody who uses this as a platform to keep up with me, people who know me, who don't see me on a regular basis. I understand that life goes on. Everybody's got their own life. I understand that, you know, I don't expect anybody to reach out to me or see how I'm doing or anything. I'm a strong person. It's not that big a deal. I just appreciate just the watching of my videos and the views that I get and the likes and everything mean a lot. And I want everybody to know I appreciate every single one of you. Um, this is just something that I've been doing for a year now, and I'm wanting to do more. But, you know, it's more along the lines for me than anybody else. And if you love my videos, great. If you don't, I'm sorry. Uh, that's all I can really say about that. But, you know, this is a way for me to cope with everything that's going on because I've been through a ringer. My dad's been through a ringer, and I've always wanted to make videos. I just never really had the courage to do it in order to do so. And then, you know, I finally got to that point where I wanted to do this, so I did. But once again, I appreciate all of you viewers. I appreciate everybody. Anybody who watches my videos, if you don't mind, give this video a like. If you haven't seen any of my other videos from the sagas, being anywhere from the life of Nicky P to Cancer Chronicles with Bill Rocky Ferris, or the food adventures, or just gaming videos in general, I would urge you to click on my channel. Should show up on the screen here. Um, you know, whatever your fancy is, it's just in general. Views always help. And if you are not subscribed to my channel, please do so. Hit the big old red subscribe button. And then if you're subscribed and you want to be notified when I upload videos, to hit the bell icon to be notified when I upload new videos, so that way you can know as soon as my videos are uploaded. I'm currently at 23 subscribers. I'd like to bump that up a little more, but I'm no pressure. Uh, you know, I'll take whatever I can get. 23 is a lot for what I got. But, you know, anybody who's going through stuff, if you know anybody that, you know, is going through the same stuff that I'm going through, or anybody that, you know, just wants to see in the world they're not alone. Everyone goes through stuff. Everyone is dealt their cards in life. And this is, you know, the way you take what you're dealt and then overcome that shows what kind of person you are and strong person you are. And to realize that there are bad people in the world that are trying to do harm and cause problems in your life, or to make your life harder, that you don't have to fall for those tricks or give in or give up. And realizing that to stand your ground, to understand who you are as a person, to not let them bully you, so to speak, is very powering. Nobody deserves to be treated terribly. Nobody deserves to have this kind of stuff going on, but, you know, there are people in the world who are not here for good, they're here for bad. And, you know, karma is a bitch, and, you know, it always comes around. And, you know, hopefully those of you that are doing bad to others or causing people problems or making more harm than good, then you will have karma bite you in the ass. But, you know, it may take a year, may take a month, may take many years, but eventually it'll catch up to you, because there's no reason to make everyone else's life harder because you think that's the best option. But also, anybody who's going through anything, I wanted to get back into that kind of motivational way. I know that everyone in life who watches my videos is having their own personal life and everything, but I just want everybody to know that, you know, the person that you are and the way you handle things makes you a stronger person. But there's no point letting anybody with negative thoughts or negative feelings to take that from you. You are who you are, and if you watch my videos, clearly, you know, you realize that I'm going through quite a fucking ringer of shit and I'm still standing. So hopefully that gives people motivation to be able to, whatever life gives them, they can clearly overcome that hurdle and move on to the next bigger and better things. But for whoever you are, wherever you are, I hope you have a good day, good night, good week, good month, good year. I hope everything's going well in your life. I hope everything turns out for the best for you and the people around you. And I want to wish everybody the best, because that's all I ever expect for anybody is the best. And I appreciate every single one of you. Like I said, I've said this numerous times, but I just want you all to know how much it means to me to watch videos. The views, the subscribers, and everything that's been going on over the past year really means a lot. And it really shows me that people really care, but it also gives me motivation to do more and to be a better person. So, yeah. So, this is Nicky P. I'm going to sign off. Love, peace, chicken grease to you all. And keep on keeping on. And as we say in, everyday life, life gives you lemons, you make lemonade. But it is what it is. That's another one my dad makes saying, it is what it is. All right. Y'all take it easy. Later.